performing. Do all teams get there? Well, if you want to get there, number one, use movement forward as motivation and identification. Two, you might have to assess whether or not it's actually feasible, viable, or a good idea to try to move that team, any particular team, out of norming and into performing. And last but not least, keep the focus on the team. Remember, there are no rock stars here. This is an ensemble act. Now, if you like how we deliver three specific thoughts that you can use immediately and, you know, mull over, see how it applies to your situation, well, then please like or subscribe or, join our Facebook group, Leadership Driven Project Management Academy. Okay. So, one feature of the performing stage is the level of positive energy that surrounds the work, imbues with the rest of the team, and the interactions needed to make the deliverables happen. That's not necessarily a totally organic growth. You know, some teams get to the norming stage in a very healthy state and they just never grow out of it to the next level of performance. And while that isn't optional, it also isn't necessarily something you're always going to have the bandwidth or time to do something about, especially since what we typically call the performing stage, well, some of us actually think of it as the high performing team stage. And I can almost hear you. Wait, what? Does that mean we might not get there? Well, you have to assess the viability and the need to get the team out of norming. Don't forget, work is being done on the deliverables, um, and to drive the cultural change and the attitudes and the behavioral change necessary to accommodate a move to a high performing state isn't always something that you're going to be able to do productively. A team that I'd worked with had labored along quite happily through a couple of short projects, and they never quite left the norming stage. Now, they were cordial, they did their work, and there was a fairly strong sense of cooperation. It just wasn't the same as the kind of cohesion that's built on clearly understanding the levels of interdependence between not just the work products but the people, and a sense of commitment that's built to craft and then keep a strong momentum and a high level of enthusiasm. Was this something I needed to fix? Oh, I was itching to. The thing is, there was no real need to. And just like so many of you, there were a couple of other teams that really needed my attention, including one that would only be able to deliver if we did make it to the performing stage. With that team, forward progress was closely monitored and remarked on and made a hallmark of the team identity. We were the team that got things done. We also talked a lot about how to better work with each other, how to support a collectively strong commitment to work ethics and quality standards. We did get to the performing stage, but remember, this really isn't often organic. Now, when it is, it's magical, but when it's not, you're going to need to assess truly the value and the viability of stepping in to help your team step up. Look, the last point is sometimes one of the hardest. Focus on the team's collective identity rather than singling out the contribution of any individual. One of my favorite students called me at one point, and It was hysterical. He was having a devil of a time. He was trying to get some changes because in an upcoming rewards and recognition event, his project was definitely going to be recognized. Unfortunately, it wasn't the whole team, it was one individual. But then he called back shortly, and now you know why I thought it was so hysterical because we laughed together out of sheer relief. It turns out that that one team member told their leadership team that it wouldn't be right. It just wouldn't be right to take the reward and recognition as an individual because the work wouldn't have gotten done without the collective efforts of the team. Offloading where they could, delivering a little bit earlier so that the full work could be sent to those last finishing touches. It was, this team member asserted calmly, such a team effort that it wouldn't have been right. It wouldn't have been just to accept it as an individual reward. Gotta love it. If you can get your team to high performing, that's wonderful. If your team stays in norming and is meeting expectations, that's not a bad thing. In a perfect world, we'd be able to get every team to high performing because we'd have the time, the bandwidth, and the support of our leadership teams. Well, if you find the GPS coordinates for that perfect world, do me a favor, would you, and share them? I haven't been able to find it yet. This video on the performing stage of team development was brought to you by the Leadership Driven Project Management Academy. I'm Kimi Zimski. Thanks for joining us, and do check out the videos on the other stages of team development. See you soon.